All right, welcome to Alignment of GIS to your business, what it is, why it's important, and how to do it. My name is Adam Carnow. I'm a community evangelist at Esri, and I work out of Charlotte, North Carolina. I've been a GIS practitioner for over 25 years. In addition to experience in the private sector, I've also worked in the public sector and academia. Been with Esri for 13 years, and I work with Esri staff, partners, ArcGIS users, and the GIS community to help them do more with their GIS investment and make a difference in their communities. So as we talk about alignment, let's first just get everybody on the same page and review the definition of align. And as a verb, it's to bring into line, to array on the side of or against a party or cause. As an intransitive verb, it's to get or fall into line, to be in or come into precise alignment or correct relative position. Some other synonyms for align are coordinated, unified, united, collaborate, cooperate, teamwork, and harmony. But in the context of what I'm going to talk to you about today, about aligning your GIS to your organization, what it is and why it's important, I think it's to the people at the top of your organization, the people that are running your organization, it really means that if the organization is aligned, it means everyone is working together towards a common goal. And that's really what they're looking for. And that's really the context of what I want to talk to you about today. So let's talk about what is alignment to your business and why it's important. And really, it has to deal with these 4 steps. And some of you may be familiar with these from our geospatial strategy presentations and literature. So in order to be aligned to your organization, you've got to know what the goals are in your organization. And this is usually available in a strategic plan or some sort of plan or corporate document that your organization has, because every organization is going to have goals about what they're trying to achieve. Now, when they identify goals, you also then need to identify the challenges. What is keeping the organization from reaching those goals? And once we know what those are, we can then propose and put together some business-driven GIS solutions that are going to help us mitigate or overcome those challenges and actually reach those goals. And if we do that, we get business value of GIS. And so this alignment to the business of our GIS takes place in these 4 steps. And so to show how this works, in a real world situation, I'd like to go over a specific case study of how a customer has done that. So I'm going to talk to you about Cabarrus County, North Carolina. So this is just northeast of where I am in Charlotte. Charlotte is in Mecklenburg there, just to the southwest of Cabarrus County. It's got a population of about 216,000. It might be hard to see, but it's this upside down triangle shaped county right here with Concord at the center, which is the county seat. And you can see Charlotte is right here to the southwest. So it is really a bedroom community for Charlotte, although it's trying to shake away from that image and become, its own force in the economy in the area as well. Other cities there are Kannapolis and Locust. It is part of the Charlotte MSA. And it's got quite a few things that make it stand out to give it its own identity. Concord does have a historic center. Again, that's the county seat. It's known as the home of the Reed Gold Mine, which a lot of people don't know this, but this is the first gold discovery in the United States, happened at the Reed Gold Mine in 1799, and it led to a gold rush in North Carolina. And also we had there was a U.S. mint here in Charlotte for quite a while based on all the output of the gold. It's also home to Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's the center of American motorsports. So that's this is a 1.5 mile super speedway. It also has a road course, a dirt track, and the only all concrete 4-lane drag strip in the U.S. There's also a Concord Speedway. It's also for you racing fans, it's also the headquarters for Hendrick, Roush, Richard Petty, Chip Ganassi, the Stuart Haas, J.T.G. Doherty, and the Wood Brothers teams. So those cover, multiple motorsports. It has a state-of-the-art wind tunnel that's used by NASCAR as well as Formula One teams. And there's a trail, historic trail that tracks the life and career of Dale Earnhardt as well. Dale Earnhardt Sr., I should say. It is home to the Kannapolis Cannonballers, which is a Class A affiliate of the Chicago White Sox that play in the South Atlantic League. It's owned to the North Carolina Music Hall of Fame. They have their own regional airport. I've flown out of there before. It's a great little airport to fly in and out of. It has a big Concord Mills shopping area that has a Bass Pro Shop. And then it's part of what's known as the Carolina Thread Trail, which is a trail they're putting together that goes across all of North Carolina. It is also proud to be home of the headquarters for S&D Coffee and Tea Company, which is the nation's largest custom coffee roaster and the largest blender of iced tea to the food service industry. So it does have a great identity of its own. And here's the county's website. They have a long history of being an innovative government agency. They are credited with being one of the very first government agencies in the nation to provide GIS mapping via the internet. And they've consistently been in the top 10 for 9 years in a row for winning, digital and innovation awards. They won 8 NACO, National Association of County Achievement Awards in 2021, 4 of them in 2020. They won awards from Laserfish on digital transformation and excellence awards from MCCI. And again, they won 3 years in a row. They've won the Center for Digital Government Awards. And, at the bottom, this is for the 2021 award. You can see the write-up of why they won their award, and you can see that the word align or alignment is in there 3 times. And so they're so well aligned that they're winning awards and really making a big difference in their organization. So let's see how they did it and who's involved. So we've all heard this quote, teamwork makes the dream work, but I hadn't heard the rest of the quote, which is, but a vision becomes a nightmare when the leader has a big dream and a bad team. So you do have to you can't just have the leader, you've got to have a great team as well. And going back to Esri's take on the geospatial strategy, one of the steps in the geospatial strategy is you have to assemble your team. You've got to have these 3 positions on your team to be successful, and that is you've got to have technical leadership on board. You've got to have a great executive sponsor, and then you've got to have a champion. So a champion is someone who believes in the value of geospatial solutions for the organization. The executive sponsor is someone who supports the champion and can allocate funding and resources to projects and initiatives. And then the technical leadership is 1 or more people who work with the champion and executive sponsor to bring solutions to life. So let's see who those are for Cabarrus County. So first, in the executive sponsor role, we've got Debbie Brannon. She's the area manager of innovation. In the technical leadership role, we have Todd Shanley, the chief information officer or CIO. What's interesting about Todd is he's been at the county for over 20 years, and he started actually as a GIS intern, and he's the former GIS manager. So that really, really helps helps your culture and your success capabilities if you've got a former GIS manager that's moved up into leadership. And then lastly, but certainly not least, is the champion, who's Joe Battinelli, and he heads up their business and location innovative services department. So how do you align your GIS to your business? Well, you follow that same four circles, right? Business goals, challenges, business-driven GIS solutions, and then business value of GIS. So let's see how they did it here at Cabarrus County. So first of all, they have a strategic plan. This is the strategic plan for the county. This isn't for the GIS department. It's available online. You can see the mission and the vision, and then they got goals and objectives, et cetera. So most any government agency or most organizations will have a strategic plan. So you just need to get a hold of that and understand it, and then go to work from there. What you then want to do really is talk to the people that are in charge of each of those goals. So figure out who's assigned each of those goals and objectives, because then the next part that we need to talk about is the challenges. So what's the challenges that they've identified to meeting those goals and objectives and achieving their mission and their vision. So here's a picture of me presenting to the leadership of Cabarrus County. And we did this as a way to get them interested into how GIS could help mitigate their challenges and achieve their goals. So we met with them. I kind of gave them a vision of why we were there, and we were going to back this up with a series of meetings. We met with every single department at the county, and our job or our objective there was to learn their business, learn their workflows, learn their pain and their vision, and learn what their challenges were to meeting their goals so that we could come back with the next step. And it really helped them understand why they were going to, have to participate in these meetings, and it got them excited about it, and they were really fired up and ready to participate because they were ready to get some help in meeting their goals. So then the third part here is just, delivering the GIS solutions, and you want to do this in a sustainable way. So you want to start with configurable off-the-shelf solutions. So hopefully you're familiar with our ArcGIS solution site. If you come up to this site, you can see we've got 111 solutions. This is the largest collection of SaaS GIS solutions in the world. They're free, they're open source, they're supported, they're constantly updated, and you can deploy these in the cloud via ArcGIS Online. There's no need for any on-premise software or infrastructure, and no need for GIS experience to configure and deploy. You can join their meetup. They have meetup meetings all the time online, and you should sign up for the newsletter to plug in and learn on most of these. So these are apps that are ready to go and part of your solution, so they're easy to maintain. And then, you probably don't know everything you need to know to order to deploy these and keep them up and running successfully, or maybe there's some other things you need to know. So you need to always think about training. And then, Esri's got consultants that we can help you out. We've also got a great network of partners that can help out as well, and we work well together. You can work with Esri and the partners together at the same time, and then partners show off their solutions in the ArcGIS marketplace. So want to make sure that you don't try to do everything on your own. Most of the people that we highlighted at Esri that are customers that are successful, they all get help. Nobody does it on their own. So please don't be afraid or feel that you don't know everything, and so you need to reach out to help. Nobody does. So please get help. And so what that leads to is, this is a screenshot of the some of the applications that Cabarrus County has put out to the public. And I'd like to review a few of them that are important. First of all, this is their emergency rental assistance program. So they're going to be distributing over $10 million. And this is a critical app that supports the program that allows people to apply online. And so this is, well, it's not a GIS app. It is integrated with their enterprise GIS because there's some address validation service that's going on in the background. So a very important county program and operation here is supported by enterprise GIS. Enterprise GIS services are also integrated with their foreclosure web application. So this is a shot of that, because foreclosures are obviously very important to the county as well. They deployed a few different apps to support the coronavirus response. This is the impact planning report that does some demographic analysis to show the impacts and how things are going at the county. And then they've got this app as well, which is this is related to the opioid epidemic. So this is showing Narcan deployment density heat map over time. So Narcan is deployed by EMTs when they respond to an overdose call. So this is in effect, by showing the use of where Narcan was deployed, it's showing where the overdoses are happening. And you can see that this data changes a lot over time, showing, where the problem is across the county changes over time. And I think a lot of us have data that has a timestamp, and I think that not often enough do we actually put it into time mode and are able to analyze it over time to make sure that we're adequately deploying the resources where they need to be today, not where they needed to be yesterday. Next, this is another application. This is the Cabarrus County Biodiversity Dashboard. So biodiversity is a very important topic for the leadership at Cabarrus County. And so this shows where species of interest have been identified across the county, both plant and animal species. So that's a pretty interesting application. I haven't seen a lot of those deployed at the local government space. So again, just to review, we're talking about 4 steps. What are the goals to the business? What are the challenges? Let's provide some business-driven GIS solutions, and then we get business value of GIS, and that's how we get our alignment of our GIS to the business to provide the maximum value. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about, though, is if you're going to be going through this process, when you go to propose a GIS, a business-driven GIS solution, you're going to have to get executive sponsorship for that solution. And too often I see people not know a really good way to effectively do that in a short, succinct manner that's effective to an executive. Executives don't have a lot of time. They want you to cut to the chase and get to the point pretty quickly. They aren't interested usually in details on technology. They certainly don't want to hear any GIS jargon. So We here at Esri utilize something we call the solution map. And so you should be able to present a proposal for a GIS solution in just 2 slides like this. So the first slide is all about stating the problem. So I'll go with a problem driven by a Federal Highway Administration mandate that came out several years ago that said that public agencies must establish and implement a method to maintain traffic sign retroreflectivity. So that's the problem statement. The cause of the problem is that the nighttime crash rate is 3 times the daytime crash rate. So if we improve sign visibility, it helps everybody. Next is the negative business impact. So if the county or the city or whatever if they failed to adhere to this federal mandate and standards, they would get reduced sign visibility, which would cause an increase in crashes and therefore increased liability. And so anytime you use the term increased liability in front of an executive, their ears are going to perk up and they're going to be very interested because that's the last thing they want. So our second slide is the solution. So how we solve the problem, we're going to implement a GIS-based sign inventory and management system. And of course, we're going to follow best practices. We're going to configure first and not write custom code because that would cost more money and increase the total cost of ownership and make it less sustainable. And then what's the positive business outcome? Well, if we fully comply with the mandate, we get improved sign visibility, which should lead to reduced crashes and limited liability, as well as increased efficiencies and support better decisions because we'll now know exactly where our signs are and what condition they're in. And so we can more accurately, schedule replacements and, have the supplies we need on, on site in order to do those at the right time and make sure that no signs are lost in the mix. So we're going to become a better performing organization. And then the last part would just simply be the schedule and the cost. How much is it going to cost? And I'm talking full cost here: hardware, software, workforce development, also known as training. What's the change management? We got to make sure that this system is adopted and actually used. So we want to definitely have an element of change management, organizational change management, to make sure that we're getting the organization ready for the technology and that it will be used the right way. We're going to get some external assistance, like I mentioned, and this will provide a complete total cost of ownership, TCO, of the entire project. And really, that's all you need: 2 slides, 6 boxes, in order to present a solution proposal to an executive so that they can support it. All right, so now let's just go over some resources and a conclusion. First of all, on geospatial strategy, the approach to maximize impact is our starter document on that. You can get that at this URL. Here's a great book that covers this kind of stuff and a lot more. Comes to us from Matt Lewin up at Esri Canada, the Geospatial Strategy Essentials for Managers. If you're in government, this is a great site, a Smarter Government from former Governor and Mayor Martin O'Malley, that really plays well. And there's a accompanying book that you could give to an executive that explains to them the value of technology in the government space. There's also a great the Data Smart City Solutions site that's part of the Ash Center for Democratic Governance and Innovation at the Harvard Kennedy School. This is a great place to go that has all kinds of information and best practices about how to use technology to function as a smarter government organization. Then I'd like to just give some shout outs to some peers for you to follow that can give you a lot of other good advice and resources. There's Nathan Heaselwood, Matt Lewin, as I mentioned earlier, of that author of that book, and Paul Sinot. These are all people at Esri Distributors. That's not why they're on here. They're on here because I think these are the best people in our community that talk about leadership and strategic management of GIS. So Nathan's out of New Zealand, Matt's out of Canada, and Paul's out of Ireland. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. Again, it comes down to the 4 circles that will lead you to alignment, the goals, challenges, solutions, and then that gives you the value. And I know that this can put you in an uncomfortable place. So I want to, give my best shout out to Ted Lasso here, the great quote from him. Taking on a challenge is a lot like riding a horse. If you're comfortable while you're doing it, you're probably doing it wrong. So yes, this isn't easy, but it's necessary. We've got to be aligned with the business to provide value. That's why you're there. And the one last thing I want to mention before I wrap this up is that, my job is to inspire you to be an agent of change in your organization towards digital transformation. I don't want this to be just another presentation that you sit through and watch and then go back to your day. I want this to actually inspire you to change and bring more change to your organization and improve it and improve your community. So please do me a favor, utilize these resources, reach out to me for help, and the community as well, and make a bigger difference in our organizations and community. Thank you.